for this morning, these are the disciplines of counseling. Okay. Now, at the end of our discussion for this morning, okay, we will, okay, uh, you, the students, will define the counseling based on your own knowledge and understanding from the different sources. Identify the goals of counseling, define the scope of counseling, and enumerate the core values of counseling. And lastly, state the principles of counseling. Again, these are the things that we're going to discuss for this morning. What is counseling? Its goals, scope, core, and principles. Now, let us define first what is counseling. Okay. So, it's early in the morning. Morning na morning po. Ito po ang pag-uusapan natin about counseling. Okay. Glantz defines counseling as an open-ended, face-to-face, problem-solving situation which a student, okay, with a professional assistant can focus and begin to solve a problem or problems. Okay, so yun yung kay Glantz na meaning ng counseling. Okay, an open-ended, face-to-face problem-solving with the student and a professional assistant. Kay Rogers, in 1965, he speaks that counseling as the assistance which comes to a child through face-to-face contact with a professionally trained person in a psychological relationship using either talk or counseling as a relationship in which one of the parties has the intent of promoting growth, development, maturity, and full functioning of the other. Okay? Assistant. Okay, professional assistant. So, hindi pwedeng kung sino lang. Kailangan professionally trained person in psychological relationship. That is for definition of Rogers about counseling. Next is reinforce. Okay, kay Brommer. It's reinforced by defining counseling as a purposeful reciprocal relationship between two people. Okay, between two people in which one is trained person and helps the other him to change for his environment. Okay, one common word here is trained professional persons. Brewer defined counseling as describing counseling more in the language of counselors today than he said. Counseling is talking over a conference, a friendly discussion upon as equal terms as may be, with no attempt to impose a decision, and with every effort to stimulate the thought of the students to find or generate such technical knowledge and wisdom as will lead him to a right decision. Okay, talking over to make decision to improve him or himself. Webster Dictionary now defines counseling as consultation, a mutual interchange of opinion, and delivering together. So as you can see, boys and girls, there is always a common word sa mga meanings nila about counseling. Okay. Next. Okay, Clarence Dunsmore considers counseling as an interview or conference between a pupil and a member of school staff with whom he has a guidance relationship for the purpose of considering some of his problem and desirable course of action. So there's always a guidance office inside the school, and inside there is the guidance counselor. So when you were in during your elementary or high school days. No, laging panakot yan. Dadalhin kita sa guidance office. Diba? Pero it should be not like that. A guidance office is, that is for, sabi dyan, a desirable course of action where it, the pupil and then the member of the school staff should have a mutual relationship, okay, to guide. That is for Clarence Dusmore definition. Next, Arthur Combs refers counseling as an attempt to aid the individual, assisting him to reorganization of attitudes, feelings, emotion, such that he can make optional use of his abilities and physical endowment. Okay? An attempt to aid the individual, okay, assisting and organizing the attitude, okay, for his physical endowments. That is for Arthur. While Williamson defines counseling as a means of helping people to learn how to solve their own problems. Helping them, okay, helping them to solve their own problems, not giving them solutions for their problems. Rather, formulating their own, rather they're going to formulate their own solutions to their problems. Okay, that is how Williamson defines counseling. Next, Jones now believed that counseling is an activity in which all facts are gathered and focused on particular problem of the counselee who is given a direct and professional help. So with all the meanings that I gave to you, there is always a common word. A face-to-face problem solving, okay, a mutual relationship, a talk, okay, between the counselee and then a counselor that will reorganize the counselee in what? Deriving his own solutions to his problem. So, ganun po ang nangyayari sa counseling. Okay, we have now here the goals of counseling. Counseling, as it is known, is geared towards the attainment of individual preserved self-knowledge, self-realization, and self-development. Counseling is also a process of assisting the individual to solve his own problems. So, katulad ko nung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina. Okay? And Dunsmore and then Miller gives goals in counseling. And what are those? One is to give the students information on matters important to his adjustment and growth. Okay? To get information about the student which will be help to him in solving his problems. Next, establish a feeling of mutual understanding between pupil and then the teacher. Okay? Take note of the word, establish the feeling, mutual understanding between the pupil and then the teacher. So, meron silang dapat na mutual na understanding. Okay? Mutual understanding, hindi dapat sila nag-aaway or hindi dapat na nahihiya or takot sa student sa counselor. Okay, even the advisors, we consider them as a guidance counselor. Okay, hindi lang yung nasa loob ng guidance office. Okay, and even your advisors, you are siya din ang inyong mga guidance counselor. Okay. To help your pupil work out a plan of solving his difficulties. Laging ito, no? To help him in solving his problems. To help the pupil for solving his difficulties. Di ba parang same lang din yun? Okay. To help the pupil know himself better, his interests, abilities, aptitude, and available opportunities that will help him in solving his difficulties or in solving his own problems. To encourage special talents and develop right aptitudes. Right attitudes to inspire successful endeavor toward to attain or for realization of his objectives. Okay, baka mahiyain, student. Okay, titignan ni ma'am, ano ba yung mga nag-cause, bakit siya mahiyain? Ano yung mga talents, his abilities that he is keeping, that he have to show to others para magkaroon siya ng self-confidence in showing this to madlang people. Diba? Okay. To assist the pupils in planning his educational, vocational choices. Okay. It is used in formulating plans for vocations, making surveys of employment opportunities, administering vocational aptitude tests, gathering cumulative occupational information, following up pupils for placement, and sponsoring convocation programs and career day seminars. I know you boys and girls, before you enter senior high school, na meron pang face-to-face, nagkaroon kayo ng mga ganito, mga career assessment test. Tama ba si ma'am?
Opo.
Yes. Thank you for answering. 23 kayo, 22 kayo, isa lang nag-yes.
Opo.
Yun. Gising na ba? Gising na kayo. Yun.
Opo. Opo.
Ayan. So, even though it's morning na morning tayo, ha, dapat gising na gising. Okay. So, that's it, no? Nagkaroon kayo ng mga convocations and aptitude tests. What will be the career that is suitable for your skills, your interests, and then your abilities? Para syempre, when you're going to get your education, pag nasa college na kayo, and your senior high also, alam nyo kung ano yung babagay sa inyong talents or skills. Okay? So those are the goals of counseling. Now, how about the scope of counseling? Okay? The core, the most intimate and vital part of the entire guidance program is counseling. Counseling may be defined by telling first what it is not. Okay? Take note of that, ha. Counseling may be defined by telling first what it is not. Okay? Telling. Dapat the counselor minsan he or the counselor will ask, oh, why, bakit mo ginawa yun? Okay, bakit yan ang pinili mo? Okay, and then after sasabihin niya, bakit hindi ito? It is not lecturing. Counseling is not lecturing, which is one-sided. Hindi yan laging counselor lang ang salita ng salita. Hindi lang laging advice ay galing lang kay counselor. Counseling is much more than taking or talking to a pupil. Either or neither, it is merely giving an advice. Although advice may be given, but the counselor gives advice only when it is impossible not to give it. Counseling is not just teaching, carries within the element of indoctrination, and counseling does not resort to compulsion. Dapat hindi sila nagkakasalubong. Ano teacher na nagkakasalubong? Ibig sabihin, the counselor should always neutralize the talks between a student or yung counseling niya, okay, for him to be able to get the feelings of the one he's talking. Okay, Ford and Orban. Okay, Ford and Orban in their book entitled System. Okay, System psychotherapy. Counseling involves two people in interaction. Okay, so kung ko-connect ninyo yung meaning kanina, it is a face-to-face interaction between two people. Ito, almost the same. Counseling involves two people in interaction, a generic term for the exchange of meanings between people, which includes the direct communication of talking and listening, as well as gestures, glance, nods, shakes of the head, frowns, yung pag-iyak while talking, and nonverbal features by which meaning is transmitted from one person to another. The interaction is highly confidential, and since counselee discuss themselves in an intimate fashion, is highly private and unobserved by the others. Walang audience, sila lang. Counselor and counselee lang. As I recall, napapanood siguro nyo sa news yung yung artist, yung Kauko, if I'm not mistaken, no? Yung boyfriend niya ay kinausap. So, yung mga gestures nun, ng boyfriend na yon ay tinitignan nila kung umiiyak na nga lang daw, sumasagot agad kahit hindi pa na itatanong sa kanya. So, yung mga ganon na mga gestures ng mga pinakausap ay pinag-aaralan nila yun. No? And also, baka nabanggit ni ma'am yun, also here in counseling, these are very meron niyang mga meanings. Okay? And then they try to translate it. Okay, yung mga gestures na yun. And it is highly private. Only the counselor and the counselee is only in the room. The mode of interaction is usually limited to the verbal realm. The counselor and counselee talk with one another. Counselees talk about themselves, their thoughts, their feelings and actions. They describe events in life and the way they respond to these events. The counselor listens and responds in some passion to what the counselee says to provoke further response. To think, talk, and share their ideas. Okay? So, hindi yan para this is not the counselor lagi yung malumanay. Because they are trying to get more from their counselee. So, hindi nila masasolve ang problem kung palaging pagalit o parang pinapagalitan niya or dinidiktahan niya yung kanyang counselee. Okay? The interaction is relatively prolonged since alteration of behavior takes time. In contrast to a brief conversation with the friend in which distortions or unconscious desires are usually maintained and usually only temporary relief is gained. Counseling has its goal and change of behavior, and it is assumed that through counseling interaction, the counselee will revise his distortion and alter his behavior. Okay, through counseling, the counselor always wants his counselee to change his decisions. Okay? Yung kanyang mga behavior, especially through his own, sa kanyang sarili. The purpose of the relationship is change in behavior of the counselee. The counselor focuses the interaction upon the counselee. The counselees need not to be concerned about happiness of the counselor, but must devote their energies in changing themselves. Okay? It is clear that the talk should be yung pag-uusap between the counselor and the counselee should always be about the counselees, not about the counselor. Okay? Dapat doon lang nakafocus. Now, here are some more core values of counseling. Okay? This is according to Appalachian University. One is the potential of every human being to change, to continue learning throughout their lifespan. Life is a journey, and life always have its learning. So all throughout our lifespan, there is always a continuous learning, whether it's formal or informal setting, especially in the environment of counseling and psychological services. Example, boys and girls. A child, no, kung may mga sisters kayo, kung may mga pamangkin kayo, just try to kung kayo ay sa cellphone at nakikita nila kayo, noon maalala, hindi yan nakakapagbasa, pero makita lang nila yung mga letters and numbers in the password mo, matatandaan nila, ma-open na nila ang cellphones mo. Yung cellphone mo. Okay? Boys and girls, baka mawala si ma'am ha. Okay. The strong relationship is the primary vehicle of helping others to learn with new ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving, including collaboration within the university community and partnering with other offices to provide comprehensive mental health services to the students and emphasis on prevention of mental health problems via education. Training new professionals and support for ongoing training of staff. Respect for diversity of individuals, their cultures, languages, lifestyles, identities, ideologies, intellectual capabilities, personalities, how they learning expands their opportunities and understanding of the global connections. Now, these are the principles of counseling. They say that counseling, if the counseling is effective, okay, that is the number one principle of counseling. If the counseling is effective, it causes change in the thinking and behavior of the counselee. Take note of that. When counseling is effective, it causes changes in making the behavior of the counselee. So, mababago siya. Yung kanyang, the way he thinks and his behavior. If it is the counseling is effective. Counseling is basically a learning function, subject in large measure to some laws of learning which are applicable in the classroom. Okay. It also includes clarification of counseling self-concepts during counseling. It includes clarification of counseling self-concepts through objective information is given about his aptitude, achievements, his willingness to improve his efficiency, happiness, and relationship with others. Okay, so those are the principles of counseling.